What if I told you that you've been living a lie every single day? I'm talking specifically about your work life because you've been lied to your entire life. And I'm about to share with you the truth about your corporate job and why you will never, ever be free mentally unless you listen to what I have to say to you and start doing the things that I'm going to share with you in this video. In this video, I'm exposing the ugly truth about your job, and I'm giving you a powerful solution so you can start freeing yourself mentally and financially for good. Take your power back because this is your time to shine. It's time to treat your job like the transaction that it is and not your identity. I am Gina Petit, your corporate free bestie, and we're going to do this together. I'm Gina, your new corporate free bestie, and I want to officially welcome you to your new corporate free home. Before a Cliff Note introduction, I have 18 plus years of corporate HR experience, so I know exactly what you deal with on a day-to-day basis, which is why I've created this page. Now, full disclaimer, I am a proud woman of God, and so I will make reference to God or the Bible in my content, but I welcome everyone and I don't discriminate at all. But if it makes you uncomfortable, you have free will and I won't hold it against you if you feel that this content isn't for you. But if you stick around, I promise you will learn something new that will blow your mind. Okay? Now let's get back to why you've been lied to and why you need to hear this if you want to live a balanced life. Okay. Here's the hard truth that I'm sure no one has ever said to you out loud until now. You have been trapped mentally and financially by an invisible force that I call corporate dependency. And you had absolutely zero clue until now. Okay, I know what you're thinking. What is corporate dependency? Well, corporate dependency is a phrase and a concept that I've coined and developed language to describe the fundamental issue that especially women experience in the workforce today. Now, here's a disclaimer before you go run into Google and looking it up. If you look it up online, you won't find anything remotely close to it because, again, it's a phrase that I've coined and I've given definition to it. Corporate dependency is your reliance on your corporate employer as your sole and primary source of financial security, your identity, as well as your stability. So basically, that just means that you're completely reliant 100% on your job for your entire survival and basically your entire stability. So you're probably thinking,
why is that a bad thing? We all got to pay bills and we got to get it from somewhere.
True, but it goes way beyond your basic needs just to have a job, just so that you can pay your bills. I need you to understand the full gravity of what corporate dependency really looks like. Let me put it to you this way. And for this example, I'm going to be talking to my ladies for this one. So basically, corporate dependency is no different than being in a relationship with an uncommitted man. Yes, I went there. So we're going to talk about what I call corporate cheater syndrome. You heard me right. So ladies, I'm talking specifically to you right now. You're the loyal, committed corporate woman who is honest, hardworking, and has invested 100% of your time, your energy, and even your identity into this relationship, aka the job. And so sure, you might rely on this relationship for your full financial stability emotionally, and let's just even say for your identity, because you actually like being a good employee. But it's because you know that all of your hard work is going to amount to something, right? Because after all, you are so loyal. Meanwhile, on the other hand, you have him, corporate dependency, the uncommitted man, who essentially considers himself a free agent. And he can sometimes be a bit controlling, whether you want to admit it or not. So he can quite literally control your entire life with one decision. But here's the kicker out of everything. He, corporate dependency, can drop you, the loyal and committed one, without any notice, so long as it benefits him, or even if he finds someone better, or even if he decides that it's no longer convenient to keep you around. And I call that the quick drop because he, corporate dependency, will literally drop you just like that. So to bring it all home, this is exactly why I say it's not safe for you to rely 100% on corporate dependency, aka the cheating partner, with your entire financial stability. Because if and when he activates the quick drop, your survival is immediately threatened and your identity is shattered. Now, I might be making light of it, but really, truly, it's not a laughing situation because if you really think about it, this type of toxic work relationship exists almost everywhere today. 1.7 million people are laid off not every year, but every month. Okay? That's how people's lives are changing because they wrongfully put all their trust into one source of income, aka your job. Okay? So let me share with you my top 5 symptoms for corporate dependency so that you can identify whether you can identify with any of the symptoms. The first one is the financial reliance that we've been talking about, where you either rely 100% on your paycheck or you either live paycheck to paycheck and you don't have any capacity to earn any income currently outside of your employer or your paycheck. The majority of the 95% of the working population falls into that category. Now, the next corporate dependency symptom is the fear of change. It's basically paralysis and sometimes anxiety just at the mere thought of either leaving, losing your job, or even sometimes just challenging your employer because you're afraid of retribution. This fear and anxiety is at the root of why millions of people are unable to leave toxic work situations, and so they just resolve and stay where they are. It's particularly the main reason why there's an uptick in mental health diagnosis, particularly amongst working corporate employees, where they have a therapist on their speed dial, Xanax at the reach of their fingertips, and they're quite literally diagnosed with general anxiety in droves. The next and third symptom of corporate dependency is loyalty mismatch, which is basically when you believe that your loyalty to your job or the company has earned you some sort of long-term security, even though evidence show you that that's not the case. Basically, you can get let go and laid off just like anybody else. It doesn't buy you any special treatment. It doesn't give you any brownie points. It's the one-sided loyalty, just like in the corporate cheater syndrome that I explained earlier. The fourth symptom of corporate dependency is one that we all know all too well, and that is emotional exhaustion. Now, I can go on and on about this one at great lengths, but let me just explain what this is. It's basically your acceptance of corporate life or corporate culture, where you've accepted this burnout culture, this overwork culture, constant feeling of being trapped and unfulfilled. This especially happens with toxic work environments that not only no longer serve your career goals, but they are completely unaligned with who you are as a person, your passion, or even much less your purpose, which leaves you feeling unfulfilled and unhappy. So now this is where the majority of folks, especially women, find themselves existing without being able to give it proper language to understand what that feeling is. All you know is that you feel stuck, you feel unhappy, you feel trapped. And I'm telling you right now, that language is corporate dependency. That's what you've been feeling all along. You see, you think that you're over it because of the job, the work environment, or the people you work with, but it goes much, much deeper than that. You're actually mentally, physically, and emotionally exhausted from having to pretend that you're happy and content and satisfied all the time. So that's the real reason why you feel the emotional exhaustion. It's the full circle experience of all of that compounded into one feeling and into one person. It is too much for you to quite literally handle. Which brings me to the last of my top 5 corporate dependency symptoms. And that one is lack of options, which basically means you feel trapped because you don't know what else to do, but you're stuck in this place that you don't like, that you're unhappy, that you're emotionally exhausted, but you feel like you don't have any other choice. Deep down, you really don't want to be doing this for the rest of your life, but you feel helpless and hopeless because you don't know what else you could do instead. So you subconsciously accept corporate dependency because what other options do you have, right? Wrong. Now, all of that aside, what if I told you that you actually do have the power to turn all of that around and live a balanced and fulfilled life that you so desire? Now, naturally, nothing happens overnight, but I want to submit to you that there is hope. Think about it. What do most women do when they get out of a toxic, controlling, codependent relationship? They typically become independent, right? They want to do things on their own terms and focus on them. They want to become independent women. That is how you turn this around. Specifically for my ladies, you'll need to become a corporate independent woman. That is how you start to get your power back, my dear. So what does that look like? That looks like you becoming self-committed to your own well-being and putting your own future first. That also looks like you finally treating your job like the transaction that it is and one of many streams of income that you have, and not the sole foundation of your entire life and stability. So basically, that looks like you finally getting off that psychological and financial corporate dependency roller coaster and finally tapping into a higher source so that you can secure your own stability and your own identity and never have to deal with corporate cheater syndrome ever again. That's what that looks like. And I can prove to you that it is your birthright to live a balanced, fulfilled, and harmonious life, absent of stress, absent of overwhelm, absent of work-induced anxiety, all of that, because you were quite literally designed to not have to live under the control of anyone or any entity other than God. And that's how He designed it. We were not created to live in a constant state of anxiety. Philippians 4 even says it. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition to God. And I can assure you that whatever your job duties are, I promise you that it was never intended to serve as your sole source of income. You can find the proof of that one in Ecclesiastes 11:2, and it says, invest in 7 ventures, yes, in 8, because you do not know what disasters may come upon the land. Translation, essentially, don't put all of your eggs into one financial basket because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. It could look like layoffs. It could look like a reorg. It could look like, God forbid, an accident that renders you physically unable to work and make the money. You just don't know what will happen. So diversifying your income is literally biblical and in the foundation of life. Mind-blowing, I know. This quite literally means that you have the green light to branch outside of your corporate job and create multiple income streams for yourself. It's in the Bible, like I told you. Now, there are several ways that you can do this, but regardless of what route you take, it all starts with your mindset, because you're going to have to unlearn your current beliefs and accept that your job is only one of several investments or income sources in your life. You've likely never considered before just how deeply trapped you are and dependent on your job. It's probably the first time you're ever hearing something like this before, and that's okay. But that is exactly why I'm turning this into a series to help you start learning how to shift your mindset so that you can open up the possibilities of creating your own income outside of your job without quitting your job. Now, it might take you a lot of soul searching and maybe some information gathering just to get comfortable with the idea of becoming independent without having to quit your job. And that's okay. But I can assure you that this is the only way that you can achieve becoming independent, getting rid of the overwhelm, being done with feeling stressed and powerless while you have your job. But the very first thing I need you to do for yourself is to make a clear and definitive decision right now, this very moment. You must decide that you no longer are willing to subscribe or willing to participate in corporate dependency again. Now, this doesn't mean that you're going to change overnight. It only means that you're making a conscious decision and that you are intentionally going to align your actions to meet that decision. That's it. So I'm going to challenge you to take your first action, and that is start assuming the identity that you want and that you desire. This is what that looks like. If you are in HR, like I used to be, you're no longer an HR generalist, an HR business partner, or an HR director. No, I'm challenging you to take the first deliberate step to break out of your current identity crisis of just being an employee and claim your new identity and role as the CEO of your own life. So why am I suggesting that you do this as a first step? Well, first of all, that is where your heart resonates, is in your identity and who you are at the core. You have to understand that the goal is not just about you making money. That is where all of the side hustlers of the world get it completely wrong. The true goal is to shift your mindset from a worker bee who's completely dependent on the hive to a builder and a creator who's dependent on God and the gifts and talents that He's given you. That is the goal. So for your first act of independence, I am challenging you to create your first actionable solution to solve the immediate problem of you feeling powerless and overwhelmed at your job. And this is how you're going to do it. Starting tomorrow or your next immediate work day, if you're off tomorrow, block 15 minutes from both your work and your personal calendar every single work day. And I want you to dedicate this 15-minute block only towards building your independent future. What does that look like? This could be anything from planning to brainstorming what your future business could look like. If you already have an idea, this could be you mapping out items or a to-do list of what you could do to move the needle forward with your business. Or if you have absolutely no idea where to start, this could be you just reading business books or catching up on videos related to building businesses. Or at the end of the day, if you are completely lost on where to start, you could use that 15 minutes as time to meditate and pray and ask and seek guidance on what your purpose is and the direction that God wants for you. If you can do this 15 minutes a day, I guarantee you'll start to create that habit and those boundaries, and you'll start to see how you can start to build something, and time is not going to be an excuse for you. Do this exercise to ignite the change that you want to see in your current reality. So remember, you don't have to continue to subject yourself to corporate cheater syndrome anymore. All you have to do is become aware, make a decision, believe in yourself, and take small but consistent action. And you'll be well on your way to experiencing corporate independence. I promise you that. Again, if anything that I've shared with you today resonates with you deeply, I encourage you to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, because I'm going to be dropping growth gems right here frequently so that I can see to it that you have a roadmap to your freedom and your corporate independence. Make sure to share this critical information out to your family, your friends, your coworkers, and even your haters, because guess what? Everybody deserves a slice of freedom. Please also feel free to drop a comment below. Let me know which one of these corporate dependency symptoms resonates most with you. And if you're inclined, drop us a little story. Just share with, because you never know who else is going through what you're going through. That's all I have. I'm going to see you next time, bestie. And until then, free your mind and stay independent. Bye.